Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Hey everybody, welcome to the Paranormal Portal podcast, or no, this is just the Night Terrors. Wow, I was just kind of distracted, sorry. I was noticing something going on with my board, and I don't know what to make of it, so it kind of threw me for a loop just before coming on the air, but yeah, some I don't know, something with the meters kind of screwing up, so gonna be troubleshooting the next 2 days, I can tell you that. It's always something when you're doing these shows, and you know, you got to do what you got to do with what you got. But yeah, when those things happen, it's just like, oh no, God, is something going wrong? So I'll be digging into that. Hopefully, we'll get to the bottom of this, and maybe in the process, I'll correct some of the sound issues we've been having as well. The crackly sounding. I don't know. I heard we had some comments from the last night's show that Dunn's mic was sounding kind of crackly, and I don't know whether that's a function of just, you know, the fact that he was remoting in from his home studio or not, but it may be, but it might be something with my sound too, since I've noticed this metering issue. It makes me think maybe something's up with my board, so we'll be looking into that the next couple days. Obviously, it's still working. You guys can hear me, right? Let me know in the chat if you guys are hearing me just fine, or if it sounds low, or if you could give me some kind of indication, that'd be great. I did record a new podcast today with a gentleman named Ben from New York. He's a great guy. We had a great discussion, and that won't be airing today, but it'll probably be airing next Sunday. We had a really good discussion. He's had some really neat experiences, and we had some just great dialogue talking about ideas and things about spirits. But let me know if you guys are hearing me okay. Sound is good, Andrew. Thank you. I appreciate that. Perfect. Cha-Cha says, okay, thank you. Titan gives me a thumbs up. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad it's not hitting you guys on your end, but just thanks, Bomber. That's exactly what I need right now. That's a great idea. Let's joke about the sound. You just want me to stroke out here, don't you? No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure it's fine. I can hear myself, obviously, but it's just the meter's not really pinging like it normally does, and it looks like the levels are the same. So I don't know. I know I've got a sound card issue in the computer, the Portal computer, so we'll have to be working on that. But anyway, welcome to the Night Terrors, everybody. I hope you guys are doing great. Thank you so much for being here with me. It's the Paranormal Portal Night Terrors. These are shorter format shows, roughly up to about an hour, generally 50 minutes to an hour. 15, not 15, just in case you might not misheard that. But we go just about an hour and have a great time. And as always, during the Paranormal Portal, when it's just me, the phone lines are open. If you want to call in, you have something you'd like to share, some paranormal thing that you've experienced you'd like to talk about, please feel free. You can call in at 720-923-0500. That's the numbers for fun right here on the Paranormal Portal. So I hope you guys will reach out if you got something to share. So tonight, of course, we're got a hopefully a good show lined up with you with some great ghostly encounters. So I hope you're ready, because it's time for bed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we're fully underway here on the Paranormal Portal. Hope you're doing good. Hey, if you guys don't mind, give me a little opinion here, if you don't mind. Let me see how I can do this. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, so as you're seeing the background now, this is kind of a listener choice. I'm giving you guys a choice here. What would you rather see on the background? Do you like this, which is just this portal, which I think is pretty cool. And I like that, at least for some of the shows. I use that for the 2-hour shows. Would you rather see that on these shorter format shows, or would you rather see... where the hell is it? Would you rather see it look like this during the night terrors? Is that, what do you guys think? Keep the portal going? Just have the portal all the time, or switch back and forth? I'm putting you guys in charge of this decision, so I'm waiting on the chat. Of course, there's a delay, so it always takes a couple seconds to what I'm saying, to you guys hearing it, to you guys responding, of course. But do you like this, or do you prefer? Dun, 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 dun. I won't mess with it too much more. Or do you prefer this? What do you like? Let me know. First one. Okay, Cha-Cha says the first one. Andrew says the portal. Ethan likes either. Do you like the one currently on it? Taco, was that the words Paranormal Portal with the background, or is it this portal? Flashing lights, seizures. Yeah, this is not for people that might suffer from seizures, but it's not filling up the whole screen either, so it shouldn't trigger seizures. Less distracting, the second one. Okay, Chris says he likes the second one. Change it up. All right, Titan, I appreciate that. Portal forever. All right, well, I appreciate it, and MCAT's driving, so you are not allowed to vote, MCAT, because you need to be watching the road. All right, number two. Okay, we get a lot of number 2s. So, all right, which is apparently just the words. Okay, all right. Well, I can certainly switch it back and forth. I kind of like that personally, because then it when you see the portal, it's a 2-hour show you're in for. I think the listeners have spoke, and this is what you've chosen for the night terrors. So. I will make a night terrors specific one. I was just curious what you guys wanted to see. I think what I'll do is I'll make a background with the word night terrors across it, specifically for these night terrors episodes, because I think it's, since they are different shows, they should have a little different personality. But I wanted to make you guys a part of that decision. So thank you guys for all of you who contributed to that. Change is good. Exactly, Andrew. I appreciate that. Okay. I appreciate that. Number 2, where I'm from, means different. Cha-Cha, there might be something wrong with you. I'm not sure. But anyway, let's get into this. H. Jones, number 2, I appreciate that. So we're going to go with this then. We're going to go with this for tonight, and I will make up a special one just for the night terrors so that, it's just something different. But thank you guys for all of you weighing in on this. I appreciate it a bunch. Because, I'm making these choices in a vacuum, and you guys are the audience. You're the ones looking at this. I'm looking at you or looking at words or whatever, but you guys are seeing this, so I want to give you something that you want to see. So thank you for all your participations. Getting on to the show, the reason that we're actually here tonight is to talk about the paranormal and some of these night terrors, these ghostly encounters. So let's pull up some of these and get into them, and hopefully you will leave here feeling absolutely entertained. So let me pull up this too. All right, 30 of you in here. We're growing up. God bless it. Excuse me. Sorry. Don't you love listening to my body functions? You get all this entertainment and my body functions for no extra cost. Let's roll and see what we can get into here. The first story tonight, that was a throat gurgle just for the record, is from California. Ladies and gentlemen, California. Has to do with pets and animals, and these are kind of cool stories. I like these when these come up because I love to think that our pets are with us. They stick with us. They don't just, blink out and gone. Some people don't believe pets have a soul, that animals have a soul. And I don't know why. I don't know where they come up with that. Maybe it's religious based. I don't know, and it's fine if that's what they want to believe. It's certainly neither here nor there that people have to believe one thing or the other. But I find that interesting because, I don't know, anybody that's owned a pet and really loves their pet, how can you not see a soul in those beautiful animals, in their heart shining through, and the fact that they love, and that they are so geared towards us. And I don't know, it's just such a neat bond, and it's hard for me to look at them and imagine that they don't have a soul. But anyway, so if they do have a soul, is it unreasonable to think that that soul continues on? Well, I've shared this story many, 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 many times on the show, but my mom still tells the story of her dog. It was what the hell was it? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. It's a little white dog. Is it not a Bashan? Because she's got one of those now, or just that one just passed away. But it was I can't remember. But it was this little dog, and she was so bonded with it, and his name was Tucker. And he was such a sweetheart. He just loved my mom. They had this cool bond. Well, it was a heartbreaker, but he got sick and died. And it really broke both my mom and dad's hearts. They loved this dog so much. And, it was a hard thing when the dog passed. But she still says that she'll feel that dog get up on her bed, walk around, and plop down like he did all the time. Every night he would get up on the bed, do a little bit of I don't know, like he was looking for just the right spot. So he'd do these circles on her bed, and then suddenly he'd find it and just boom. He'd just collapse on the bed. And she says she still feels that to this day. And it's not just wishful thinking. Like, she's feeling that sensation every night at around the same time. So, thank you. But I think it's cool. Let me look at this email here. I just got an email, and I want to make sure that if there is something I need to share, that I do it now. Let's see. Oh, okay. So this is actually, now the reason I'm going to share this is because it's for a great cause. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got an email from Rob, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and there is a GoFundMe that's been in operation to help this person, Lisa Mendez. They got a fundraising goal, and apparently her health is in really terrible shape, and they're really doing all they can to rally behind this young lady, and I think that's something we can certainly help with here on the show. So if you're able, ladies and gentlemen, please reach out and try to support this if you would. It's scary. It's a scary time for a lot of people for a number of reasons, but now it's a scary, scary time for people to be dealing with illnesses. A lot of people are still not back to work. A lot of people are really struggling. So if you're capable, if you're able to reach out and help Lisa Mendez with this GoFundMe that they got cooking, that would be really cool. She's someone that needs help. It's to save Lisa. Rob just posted in the chat too, sent Brent the information or the link. He's a crusade to save Lisa. You guys never met her. I want her to live. She's young. Absolutely, brother, and I'm glad to help. She has cancer and is fighting it. Cool, very cool. So it seems like a lot of people are really rallying behind this young lady, and if it's something that any of you guys can help with, please do. A young life is beautiful, it's precious, it's valuable, and if we can help support that, of course, we'll do everything we can. So if you're able to, ladies and gentlemen, reach out and help. If you're not able to, spread the word. Let people know about this fundraising effort for this young lady, and see if somebody might be able to help. So a lot of times, the best way to help is just to make people aware of it. And so let's see what we can do in our family here to really raise awareness for this cause and for this young lady, and we'll all fight to try to help her. So, all right, let's get continued here with the pet stories. It says, can't remember the date to save my life. I was in school, 4th grade. This can't be relevant to my first story, can it? Well, I don't know what your first story is. But my brother was in Caritas Creek for days. We got a letter from my brother saying, "Hi guys, I'm loving Caritas. See you later," or some other nonsense. Well, my dog Banjo was sick, and he was always sneezy and drooly, and I was at school when I felt a twitch in my being, like someone pulling a hair from your entire being. Being as in my soul. And it was only second period, and I was worried about my sick dog Banjo. Banjo was living at the vet at this time. Well, at lunch, I felt the pulling again, and I looked at the clouds and watched time move, particularly like a gate opening. I love clouds, so I just brushed it off, wind currents and all that science. Phi Ed time was after lunch, and near the end, my eyes watered for no reason. Followed by the pulling sensation, it felt like it was ripped in half, or I was ripped in half. So I asked to go to the bathroom, and when I was in there, I looked in the mirror and my eyes were purple. When I cry, my skin color distorts. So the rest of the day went by, and when I got into the car, my mom had tears in her eyes. And I remember thinking, the gate's opening. Oh my God. Banjo died the day before my brother came home. And to this day, I still miss Banjo. Yeah, that's sweet. And there's such a powerful bond between people and their pets. I mean, they're not really pets. They are literally extensions of ourselves or extensions of our family. If you're a pet lover, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, then, no worries. But a lot of people regard these beautiful little animals as parts of the family. I'm one of them. Although my little my little fluffy member of the family can be an annoying turd sometimes, but I still love them. Anyway, let's continue on. I think those pet stories are awesome. The next one is coming from Florida, and this has to do with apparitions, voices, and touches. So lots of things going on here. Aussie on the phone. Okay, well, great. I'll get to him in just a second. Aussie, I'll get to you in just a second. Let me just read this short story. This is coming from Florida. When I was young, I had many experiences I and others believed to be paranormal. The first one happened when I was only 1 year old. My mom and many others in the family tell me that this same story. I had a play tent, and I would go in there and talk with someone. I would come out really annoyed, and my mom would ask me who I was talking to. I used to say his name is Ray, and he's blue. Why is he blue? 'Cause his father killed him. And I used to get annoyed at him, so they sold the tent. Other times I'd be sleeping, and I'd hear his voice in my dreams. I'd wake up, and the voice would still be going on in the hall outside my bedroom for some time. Another time I was lying in bed asleep, and I saw this really tall shadow guy lean over and reach out and touch my leg. I woke up startled because I felt someone touch my leg, and there was a bruise there. One more thing. I was in our front porch studying. I looked up and saw two older people walking down the road, and the guy looked right at me and pointed. I looked down for 2 seconds, just long enough to read one word, and looked back up, and they were gone, with no place for them to go, no house anywhere near. I walked out into the street, and they weren't there. Since then, I moved twice to 2 different states, and in my first move, once in a while, I would see black mists that would surprise me, and I would jump away before I even knew what I was seeing. Since my second move, nothing has happened. Sounds like this person's sensitive, like they are perhaps dealing with an undeveloped extra perception that they haven't quite dialed in yet, but pretty cool stuff. Let's get to this call and talk to Mr. Aussie. How you doing, Aussie?
G'day.
G'day. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad.
Yeah? What's on your mind
Now,
tonight?
the experience I just had, it's a very strange experience. It's one of those things where I better tell you this before I forget.
All right. What did you experience?
I literally, as I'm walking down to the back of the property, I've got my headset on so I can listen to you. Now, what happened was, I heard this snorting sound, Rockwell. Like you guys have heard a horse snort and that.
Sure.
Well, it sounded just like that, and and because I got my headset on, I'm like, oh, it must be pretty close. I look around, there is no animals nearby. The nearest one is my dog.
That's wild. You know what? You know why that's also wild? The reason that's also wild to me is I was just in my backyard earlier today, and I was all alone out there. Even the neighbors weren't out or anything. It was just me out there, and I heard a snort. I heard a snort like it was coming from somewhere between my house and the neighbor's house, like really pretty close, and I looked over there, and I'm like not seeing anything, but I heard a snort today too. That's really weird.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I looked around straight away. I looked around, it's like, you know,
Yeah,
what's that? So I looked to maybe whatever creature it was might have been hiding. Nothing. Not a cow, not a horse, nothing. Just me and my dog.
wow. And your dog? Did your dog respond?
No, she was off sniffing the paddock. She was like a good 20 meters away from me at the time.
Okay, okay. So obviously your dog wasn't agitated or worked up about anything, which is good. That's a good sign.
After like, if she tries to have a go at the cattle and that, I tell her off for it because I don't want to chase in those things.
Yeah, yeah.
So after time, we'll be walking past the horses and she'll be too busy looking elsewhere.
Ah, okay. Wow. So,
But literally, she wasn't even anywhere near me, and I know a horse snort when I hear it because there's at least 5 horses here.
uh-huh.
So they're up at the front of the property. This happened down back at the property.
Gotcha. Wow, that's bizarre. Did you have any gut feeling at the time? Any
I know the next door neighbours have horses, but like I said, they're all up at the front of the property, not down the back here.
Right. Did you have any gut feeling at the time? Like did it feel bad or wrong or just kind of nothing?
No, it just surprised me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what the hell? And it's literally just as she started the show that I experienced it. It was like, you know, where did that come from? But it literally sounded like it was close, like within 5-10 meters, and yet there was nothing.
Same today. I
No
don't.
animal close.
I live in a town. It's a small town, but there's houses all around me, and I heard that. I can't say it was the same sound, but it was like a snort, like that, you know, but more deeper than that.
That's what it sounded like.
Right.
It's more horsey like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But it was. I didn't get a gut feeling either. It was just like something was somewhere near me, but I don't have it's just an urban area, so there was like nowhere. It could have there might have been something behind the raspberries, but it's like the only thing we have in town here, other than the occasional moose, are dogs and cats and stuff. So I don't know. It's very weird, but
yeah, but even then, they don't make that noise.
Right. Well, I don't know about
The only
moose.
time a dog will make that noise is when they're sneezing or something.
Right. Yeah, that's really weird that you would call in after hearing the same, very similar kind of sound to what I heard today. That's strange.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I suppose you heard it about what you would call lunchtime or something, around about midday or something.
Yeah. Yep. What?
Exact same time.
Yeah.
But here in Australia.
That's weird.
Because your show today starts at 12
Weird.
for me.
That's so bizarre.
So
I don't know.
that's about lunchtime. So
Yeah.
it just happens to be about the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, you're right, because it was just before I had to do the interview. I was actually just out there getting a breath of fresh air before I had to come in and do an interview for the podcast with Ben. So it was, which I did at noon my time. So it was just prior to that as I was walking inside. So yes, oddly enough it was.
Yeah. So it's roughly the same time. So it's still like, whoa.
That's really bizarre. That's really bizarre, brother. Wow. Well, I guess we're both okay, but
yeah. But it's just like, oh, what the hell?
yeah.
I know there's a horse in this paddock. I thought it followed me. Turn around, it's not even there.
Well, if you figure out what it is, give me a call and let me know, because I don't know what the hell it was. It was strange. It was weird. No weird feeling. Just
It's probably just a horse going, oh my God, there's a human nearby. And snorts. It's like, ooh.
But yeah, exactly. But there's no horses in town here either.
Yeah, but before we know, it could be a spirit horse.
Right. It really could be, I guess. I mean, I guess anything's possible, but very strange. That's so bizarre.
Maybe,
It really blows me
maybe
away.
with you got to start riding horses again.
Yeah, I used to a long time ago. You ride horses?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to do endurance rides, so I'd be like doing like 100 miles on them
Oh, good Lord.
in a
Wow.
day.
Now that's torture. That's crazy.
since we last.
Yeah.
Did an endurance ride, but yeah,
That's really
I could easily
crazy.
ride 40 kilometres.
That's intense, brother. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what we used to do with horses, like we used to ride them, train them in, break them in, do the endurance stuff, and then sell them to the Arabs.
Wow. That's pretty intense. You're cut from a
Yeah.
tougher metal than I am, brother. I don't think I could do more than an afternoon on a horse. that's that's a lot. But
Oh,
I
that's 40 k's. That's an afternoon. That's like probably about 2 or 3 hours riding at a trot.
oh man. Yeah, that's hardcore, brother. I'm not capable of things like that, but I did do leisure riding for a while. I was never competition or anything prevalent. I just loved to ride horses. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah, but anyway, that was my experience, and I figured I'd let you get back to the stories.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for calling in. It's always a pleasure hearing from you.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
All right, Aussie. Take care, brother.
You too, mate.
All right. Well, that's really bizarre. What are the odds, you suppose? I didn't even think twice about it after it happened. It's like, well, that's weird. Why did I hear a snort? And it was just kind of matter of fact, like, well, there's a snorting noise in between the two houses. That's strange. Again, there's no agricultural stuff near my house. It's just a small town downtown area. So it's really, it wasn't like shocking to me. It was just odd. It just felt odd. And then the fact that Aussie would call in from Australia, having experienced something very similar at a very close to the same time of the day. That's really bizarre. Huh. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. It's like, what do you do with that? What do you do with that? That's just weird stuff, but I have no answers. I don't even have a guess as to what that's all about. Just weird, just odd. So, all right, let's continue on. Let's see. Okay, this one is the one I just read. And the next story, ladies and gentlemen, is coming from Louisiana. Louisiana, home of New Orleans. I like New Orleans. In fact, our very own Black Tree was just there. And I haven't had a chance to talk with her yet, but I'd love to hear more about her trip to New Orleans. See what she saw and talk to her about that experience. But I did like New Orleans. I like the vibe there. It's kind of odd. It's very old. It's an old vibe. There's an old energy to the place, and it's not all dark and weird. It's just got, I don't know, there's just it's a really cool vibe. That's all I can say. I really enjoyed it. Now, I was there pre-Katrina, so I don't know how it's changed since all of that disaster and stuff. As you know, when I see footage from there, it looks like it's bounced back pretty well. But I understand there's still areas of that town that are still scarred from all that. Many areas that are still vacant, where houses were never livable again. They were condemned and still sit empty. So I imagine there's a lot of old ghosts wandering around in New Orleans after that. But, it's just a neat town. So this one has to do with orbs, lights, and mists. They did not say this is from New Orleans. It's just from Louisiana. But that brought that to my mind, so I thought I'd share that with you. But it says, I'm Hannah, and this is one of my first stories or experiences to write about, so please just bear with me. This incident was around 2 years ago, but the memories are still incredibly vivid. I used to live in a double-wide trailer all my life up until a year ago. I moved. I've always had an interest for the paranormal, and I knew the basics, but never really had experiences of my own. Not that I wanted any. But at the age of around 10 or 11, I realized that I was wrong. One of my most vivid experiences happened while I was waiting for the bus one morning. I was standing in my porch because it was raining and darker than usual. Where my porch was, I could see the rest of the houses on the road that I lived on. And I was just looking around, waiting for the bus. And I just happened to look at the little house at the end of the road. And up on the road, or up on top of the roof, I witnessed what looked like a huge floating ball of orange, reddish light. it was moving around, and I froze, and I turned around and stared at my door, too scared to look around, and finally I plucked up the courage and looked, but it was gone. The first thought that went through my head was that it was an orb, but I didn't want to believe it, knowing that if I feared it, it would give it strength. I started telling myself that it was just a huge red light bug. red light bug. I don't know what that is, but I knew better than that. I had seen an orb. I really don't know a lot about orbs, so if anybody could tell me if it was just my imagination or if I could really see an orb, thanks for reading this. Here's the thing. Nobody can tell you what you experienced. Writing into platforms or forums saying, hey, what did I see? Can you tell me? Nobody else was there. So how can somebody else tell you what you experienced? They maybe can help you define what you experienced, but whether or not it was real what you saw, nobody can give you that or take it away. If what you saw was real and it's real, it was real. If what you saw wasn't real and it might not be real, then probably isn't real. And there's not much in between. There's not a lot of gray on that whole deal, because it's kind of up to the person to determine, was that real or not? And I'm not chastising this person. Obviously, they're looking for answers. They're looking for understanding of what they experienced. But, quite frankly, nobody can tell you if what you experienced was valid or not. Well, let me scratch that. There's some people that think they can tell you that. And some of them work in the medical field, and some of them are just those annoying people that sit around, either invalidating or validating experiences as they see fit, because they think that they have some, intellectual high ground. But quite honestly, nobody can. If it was real to you, it was real. It would really happen. If you're not sure, then probably err on the side that it wasn't real. Because if you don't know, then it doesn't do you any good to pretend it was. But very cool. Orbs are mysterious. It's kind of hard to understand what's going on there. Is it just a different manifestation of another ghostly apparition? Or is it something else? Are they the same thing, or are they something different? And I don't know. I really don't know. But they could be a spiritual manifestation. Perhaps, as I've thought before on the show, maybe it's a really efficient and easy way for a spirit to manifest, because it's just a little point of light, or depending on the size, but it's probably doesn't take up as much energy as making a manifestation of a human body. But maybe it does. I don't know. But what if they're just something else? What if they are what we understand as the Fae, and they're still around? And because there's many descriptions of the Fae that have to do with these orb-like lights. So it could be. I don't know. Just some ideas. But here's another one. This one is coming from Illinois, and it has to do with haunted places. And for the haunted places, it's a pretty good-sized story. Not bad. It says, I'm actually a bit ashamed of myself here. I originally came here for help when I didn't know where else to turn. And a lot of people helped me to find it. But now it's been so long, I haven't posted any updates on what has been happening. I've tried coming back a few times, especially shortly after the last time I posted, and I seem to have bad luck. Anytime I think to check on the site and let people know what's going on, they aren't accepting any new submissions. I have a lot to tell at this point. Shortly after the last time I posted, I had that medium come in to take a look around. I don't know. This is a tough one because I have no idea what their first story was. I was really hopeful that he was going to be the solution, but as it turned out, he was a hoax. None of what he had to say matched the situation. He said the child ghost was a boy, not a girl. He seemed to find some significance in the kitchen, which has not, in my experience, been involved in any of the activity in my home. After this debacle, I continued to try to contact the first medium, the one who said that he couldn't help once he heard the address. Well, eventually I got him to agree to talk to me, and I even managed to convince him to come back. Yes, apparently he had been to my home before, when a previous tenant had lived there. when the first thing he mentioned was the staircase, I knew we were on the right track. Turns out, when he had been here before, he had been stuck and nearly thrown down the staircase by what I call the brute. He said he does believe the brute is a residual spirit, but interacted with him because at the time he was trying to attune himself to the little girl. I don't know if I agree with that, but whatever. He described a lot of detail about what was going on, the girl, her hair, her dress, even the manner of her death. As for the brute, he could tell that he came up the stairs and was trying to get into the room, which was now my office. And once he did manage to get in there, was violence, sudden and brutal violence. And the best of all, he gave me a starting point for my research, a name for the little girl. With the name, I was able to get her date of death and view her obituary in the library newspaper archives. And she was survived by both of her parents, and as I had initially thought, she died in the late 1940s. Let me just do this quick. There we go. It says, I also did a little bit of research on her parents and found the source of the brute and of the crying woman. Apparently, the man of the house was a pretty mean fellow when he was drunk, and on that particular night in question, over a year after their daughter took her plunge down the stairs, his wife took refuge in their bedroom, which I guess is now my office. And when he battered the door open, she gave him one barrel from his own shotgun and saved the other barrel for herself. The medium is willing to come back and try a seance to see if he can actually talk to the girl, since she hasn't really appeared to me since that first time. But the charges are a bit expensive. I intend to have him in soon, and we'll tell you what happens as soon as I can. But it's almost strange how, after living in a house with something like this, you almost get used to it. But since the brute is just a residual, an echo, I may end up leaving that if it ends up being costly to have him exercised. But I want to see if we can help her move on. Also, my initial concern over the change in my son's hair color. I think at that point I was focused on something minor and insignificant to distract myself from how scared I really was. Just a summer thing. By fall, his hair had darkened in again. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I understand some people need to make a living, and so certainly they can do so by offering those skills. Some people think it's like there's something wrong with that. Like, oh, you shouldn't be charging for that. But I mean, why not? Why not? If that's your gift in life, if that's the one thing you can do, it's like saying, well, you shouldn't charge for your paintings if you're an artist because that's your gift. Well, why not? I don't begrudge people for making a living, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I know there's a lot of people that'll do it for free or do it at least for, some much lesser form of compensation than charging somebody an astronomical fee, but you can't begrudge somebody for making a living on their, whatever their gift is, because, it's, again, if you bought a sculpture, it's not free. Just because the artist has a gift doesn't mean that they got to give away what they make. So I don't agree with that thinking that some people have, like, oh, there's something so unethical about charging for getting rid of spirits, because, people have to make a living. And, if that's what they're good at, if that's what they do, it's not fair to say that you can't have money for that. But you can go, slave away in a factory. That's fine. But if you use your talent, there's something unethical about that. I don't agree with that. I'm not sure why I went into that, but that's just something that comes up so often whenever somebody that deals with esoteric and psychic things talk about, being paid or whatever. It really rubs people the wrong way. Like, oh, wait, that should be free. Why? Why? So, just my 2 cents on that. But the plumber doesn't come because he loves the art of his craft. He doesn't unplug your toilet because of his love for plumbing. He does it because he's got to make a living. And so it's the same thing for anybody that has any specific gift or skill set. And certainly psychic, esoteric people deserve to make a living as well. So we can't be roaming through the hills with, rags and living in cottages on the side of mountains like hermits. So, all right, let's go to Mississippi next. It's not going too bad tonight. Decent pace. This one's another pets and animals one. I read somewhere that an animal that is very close to the owner knows when it's their time to go. They can sense when they are needed in their owner's life, and then again when they aren't. My mother got us a cockapoo, a Cocker Spaniel Poodle mix, and when I was 8 years old, and she was the best dog, and her name was Sugar. She even traveled with us from Oregon to Mississippi when we moved, and she was our surrogate mother. She liked to check on us when we were sleeping every night, and I would sleep with my legs Indian style so that she could lay down there. It was her favorite spot, and Sugar had a collar that would jingle when she walked. That dog was loved very much. When I was 19, Sugar's health started declining. She was going blind and getting diabetes and could hardly walk. I'd just gotten married. My husband just got stationed in Kuwait, Iraq, and I was pregnant with my first child. My mother was in a relationship, and my sister was living with her boyfriend. I think Sugar knew it was her time. She came to me and laid her head on my pregnant belly, and I swear to you, she smiled at me. I cried because I knew this would be the last time I saw her. Well, Sugar passed away in October of 2002. I still have her collar. Well, after my daughter was born, I got postpartum depression. I thought I was hallucinating one night because I thought I saw Sugar run into my daughter's room. I ran in there to see if it was really her, but there was no Sugar. But my daughter was awake. One night, about a week later, I was in my bed, about to fall asleep, when I heard the jingle of my dog's collar. I was half asleep, so I didn't think much of it. I just put my legs Indian style for my dog to sleep there. Sometime in the middle of the night, I patted my dog. I remember rubbing my hands through her fur and feeling at peace. And when I woke up in the morning, I couldn't believe it. I told my mom about it, and she said it didn't surprise her that I would see our dog. I needed her the most at the time in my life, and my dog knew that. I haven't seen her since that night, but every once in a while, I hear the jingle of her collar. And on some mornings when I wake up, my legs are Indian style. Thanks for reading. Yeah, that's really cool. I do agree with that. I think that's, pets are oftentimes very attuned to us. And again, I hate to be redundant, but there's, I have several stories, but some of them just play, they just correlate so well to some of this information. And we always have new listeners. So if you've heard this before, pardon me. But I did have a cat. His name is Solomon. He was another black cat. He was the only other male cat I've ever had other than Anubis. Every other cat I've had has been female. But male cats, if you're not really familiar with male cats, they're more aloof usually than the female ones. The female ones are much more snuggly and sorry, he's getting my feet. They're much more snuggly and just loving. But the males are much more aloof. But Solomon really didn't have much time for being petted too much either. He was just this cool cat. He was nice, and I loved him, but it just wasn't an affectionate cat. And I suddenly started feeling sick. I didn't know what was going on. I just felt like I had a stomach ache, and my fever kept going up and up and up. I had this band of pain around my entire body. I didn't know what it was, but it was like around my whole midsection, to my back, to my front, this ring of burning pain, and I didn't understand what was going on. I was an adult. I mean, I was in my 30s at this time, and I didn't really know what the hell was going on. I just knew that I wasn't doing good. And my fever kept rising and rising, and I got up to like 103, and it was climbing. And I called my friend and said, could you bring me to the emergency room? I don't know what's wrong. And I was a single parent at the time with my oldest son. He was with me, and my friend came over and picked me up and took me to the emergency room. And turns out my appendix was bursting, and I didn't know. I mean, I didn't have any clue, because when you hear of appendix, you hear this pain, the right side of the abdomen. There's a pain. Well, this is a band of pain around my whole body, and I didn't know what it was. But yeah, it turns out my appendix was bursting. And so they rushed me in for emergency surgery. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up and in the hospital, and spent a night or two there, just for observation and such. And then I went home. Now, Solomon suddenly became this amazingly loving cat. This cat that had been aloof for all the years that I had him suddenly just became snuggly. And I'm here to tell you that cat, it was like he was holding vigil over me. He would climb up on my legs as I was laying on the couch. I was back at home. And he would climb on my legs and lay there. He would get up to go to the bathroom or to eat and drink, and he would come back. And he did that for about a week. And he was purring the whole time. Now, I don't know if there's truth to it or not, but I've heard that purring is a very healing thing. And I don't know. Perhaps it is. But it was very soothing to me. And I got through it. And once I started to mend, he ran away. He actually ran away, and I never saw him again. I don't think I saw him again. I might have seen him one time after that, when the black cat with another cat showed up in my yard with a few kittens one time. So I thought maybe that was Solomon just coming back and saying, "Hey, check out the fam," But during that time when I was helpless, he wouldn't leave my side. He wouldn't leave me. He stayed right with me throughout that whole period for days, just nestled on me, keeping me warm and purring. And I obviously got better. Here I am, but it was just the most amazing thing. And then when I was getting better, that was when he decided, okay, he was taking off. And he did. And I never had him fixed. So obviously that's how he showed up with kittens, but which I wasn't really responsible pet owner, but what do you do? He came to me as a little kitten, just could fit in my palm. I found him on a post on the edge of my property by the sidewalk, just on the top of the post, just howling, just scared, all by himself. So I picked him up and took him in, and he stayed with me until that time, and he took off. So pets are important. Pets are just these amazing creatures. I think that they do hold a very special spiritual place in our lives. I think that they do balance energy. They do amazing things. And of course, they are just amazingly devoted, incredible beings. So it's a pretty incredible thing. But that's my pet story. Another one. If you've heard that before, again, I apologize. I don't mean to be repetitive, but it's a true story. This one's a short one. This one's coming from Maryland. It's a sleep paralysis, old hag night attacks. It says, this happened about a month ago. I'm not exactly sure how to explain this, but here goes. This night, I did all my ritual stuff before I went to bed. I've always had a good sense of paranormal things going on. Nothing felt strange as I was falling asleep. I mean, I always had a feeling that someone is watching me, but I've just gotten used to it. Anyway, I fell asleep and suddenly was woken and just laying there. That's not like me. I tried to move, but I couldn't. I looked around my room and I find this huge, dark, shadowy looking thing with dark, dark, dark red eyes looking over me. I tried to get out of bed to run to my light switch, but I couldn't. The shadow thing kept staring at me. Being the determined person I am, I put all of my effort into moving my body out of bed, and I tried screaming, and nothing came out. After about a minute of struggling, it felt like everything was just released off of me, and I literally flew out of bed onto the floor, completely puzzled by what had just happened. I slept with my light on and the TV blasting all night. This is the first and only time this has ever happened. If someone could help me figure it out, I'd be most appreciative. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about those. If those are the same I mean, they seem similar to the old hag kind of thing. It's the only difference, I guess, is the point that the person saw a shadowy mass and not an old, decrepit-looking woman. But other than that, it's the same thing as far as I can tell. So what are these shadowy masses that sometimes look like old people? Well, I think they might be kind of those bad shadow people. They might be the ones that people always warn you about. And again, I think there's many different kinds of shadow people. I think that that's a very generic term, but I sent you a message on my psychic 19-year-old cat. That happened today. Read it, please. Oh, yeah. Let's get to Bomber's story. Thanks for pointing that out. I might not have seen it, but I did. I guess I was supposed to see it. Let's pull up MeWe here and see if I can pull it up. We're going to read Bomber's story about her psychic cat. Okay. And this is... I don't see it. What? Hold on. So is it the... Okay. Okay, all right. I think this is it. Okay, it says, "Hey, Brent, I got a text from my lady friend who delivers out of town stuff for me every month or so. Things I can't get in my village, and she's really sweet to do that for me. And I'm so grateful when she's able. Because I don't have a car, and some things I need, like pet food and other pet supplies, are much cheaper out of town and much more selection. So here's the text she sent me. Hey, sweetie. Or it says, hey, you awake? I was walking through Walmart, and this case of cat food actually fell off the stack, and I tripped over it. I figured it must be a message from the old man, so tell him I got his message, and here's his cat food. I left it on your doorstep. Funny thing is, it's a giant case of canned cat food, the exact kind that we get, exact size and flavors. It's always a stress to get their supplies because I never know when she'll be able to come, so it was really perfect timing. Though thought you'd like to hear that, my cat is nearly 20 years old. Wow. And I'm guessing his spirit guides and angels are close. He's connected in more ways than I thought to more people than I realized. Wow, that's incredible. So is your cat mystical, or is he, like you say, is it just connected? That's really powerful. That's really, really cool. I don't believe in those kind of just coincidences. I don't know. That's just too much lining up just perfectly. And those are the ones that make you go, wow, there's a bigger picture going on here. But thank you, Bomber. I appreciate you sending that in and letting me read that. That is really powerful. Huh? What do you make of that, That's one of those things that's, can you really hear that and think there's nothing more going on? I mean, when you think of the synchronicities involved in that act happening just as it happened, to get just the supplies that were needed and just when they were needed. That's incredibly powerful stuff. Very, very powerful. Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. Cats are mysterious. Psychic cats are mysterious. Yeah, Ethan. I think cats see, like, I know dogs are aware. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not putting down the canines at all. I love dogs. I've had many dogs. But the cats, there's something mystical about cats. They just seem to be aware. And literally of both worlds. Like, dogs can sense when something's around, and they can be great barometers for spiritual activity around you. But cats, I don't know. There's a whole nother level to that. And, well, of course, the ancient Egyptians believed they were incredibly powerful spiritually. So, sorry I'm raspy. I don't know. I'm a little dry tonight. But as it turns out, ladies and gents. Let me just look. This one's pretty short, so I'll close with this one. It's from West Virginia, and it has to do with haunted places. It says this happened back when my sister and I were little. We lived in a really old 2-story farmhouse, about 2 miles from the nearest neighbor. We were always hearing strange noises in the house. The stairway that led upstairs was very narrow, with a door that closed them off from the downstairs. My family always heard footsteps coming down the stairs, but the stairs door never opened. When you got up the nerve to open the door, nobody would be there anyway. There was just always something weird going on in that house. During that time, my sister and me had to share a bed. So one night, we hadn't been in the bed very long when my sister whispered, "Look at the foot of the bed." Well, standing there was 2 solid figures that looked just like my mom and dad. They were dressed in the same type of clothes my parents would have worn. The figures just stood there, staring at us. They never smiled, just a cold stare. It scared us so bad we covered our heads, and when we looked again, they were gone. The next morning, we asked our parents if they had been in our room, and they both said that they had not. Our other siblings hadn't seen anything or heard anything either. This house has long since been torn down, and no one lives around that area anymore, but to this day, when my sister and I talk about this, it still raises the hair on the back of my neck. So that's a definite doppelganger situation going on there, but very strange. So, first of all, what is it with the footsteps? I mean, they got to know that you can hear that. I'm sure that it's incredibly intentional. In fact, that came up in our discussion today on the podcast interview that I recorded with Ben, and it was just he was talking about the footsteps or footsteps like this came up, and it's like that's got to be intentional, and perhaps it's a function of something living there and being ignored for so long that it's like, nope, I'm not going to be ignored any longer, and if you think about it from the perspective of the spirit, how maddening would that be to be there and to see all this life going on around you, but none of it interacts with you at all. None of it. Everything, they may walk through you. They might, just walk right by you, and you could be waving your arms and yelling, and they would never hear you. And what kind of emotional price does that, what kind of cost does that incur for those spirits? And I imagine it would be maddening. It would be, it would literally possibly drive you almost insane. So any kind of recognition, I think, is probably precious to them because who wants to be forgotten? So in this one way, they can be remembered, or they can be at least acknowledged by the people that are around them. It also could just be that they're incredibly bored, and this came up as well on our discussion today. They could be just bored and going, "Hey, what's this?" Hey, you watch them. Watch what happens when I do this. And it could be just a bunch of bored spirits hanging around, trying to get a rise out of living, kind of like Casper. You remember that Casper? There was those three ghosts that were, they were just bastards, and they would run around and try to scare people because that was funny to them. And maybe there's some of that going on too. Like, what's this? And they do that. I don't know. I mean, it's all possible, and there's no way we can know for sure. But I think it's just funny. Purgatory. That's a good point. I mean, is it a purgatory? And I think it could be. I think it's probably a self-imposed purgatory, and it's. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Maybe there is a penalty for some spirits, depending on what happened throughout the course of their lives, that is their afterlife, at least for quite a long time. And so that's a good point. But I think that there is also self-imposed. Casper, my favorite old cartoon. Yeah, Paradox. I hear you. I loved Casper. I love that movie too. The one that I think it's Christina Ricci's the young girl in there. That was a really cute movie. I enjoyed it immensely. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the entire Paranormal Portal Night Terrors episode for tonight. Remember, there's no episodes for the next 2 nights. No live streams. However, I will be releasing the new podcast after I get done with the live stream tonight. I'm going to put it up and get that out there. So if you need some Portal in the next couple of days, there'll be a new podcast out there. Or remember, there is like 780 episodes in archive right here on YouTube. So if you need some Portal during the next couple of days, stop by and check out some of those old episodes. And if you do, please, if you come across an episode where something really made you laugh or you love some part of some episode, send me an email at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com and tell me which episode you watched and about the timestamp that you thought was great. Because we're trying to put together a listener favorites episode where we're going to compile listener suggestions of memorable Paranormal Portal moments and create its own video. So if you come across something that you really enjoyed, send me an email. Say, hey, on this video at this time, this went on. It was great. Include this as my submission. So I'd really appreciate it. We've gotten a few suggestions that come up in the YouTube comments, but I really want you to email them to me because I don't want to have to comb through YouTube comments to find these episodes and timestamps and stuff because there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. So I'd appreciate it if it was in an email because then I can just throw it into a folder and then take a day and dig up these clips and put them together for you guys. So, all right, guys, that's all I got for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. And, of course, I'll be back with Don on Wednesday nights. And we've got some good shows coming up this next weekend as well. So stick around. And if you want to keep up with what's going on in the Paranormal Portal, any announcements will be on facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio. Please make sure you're subscribed and hit the notifications for our channel because most of the people watching our episodes are not subscribed. It's like a 50% margin of people that are subscribed watching the shows and the unsubscribed. So if you're watching this, you're enjoying the shows, please help us out, get subscribed, and please let other people know about the Paranormal Portal. We'd really love it if you'd help us out. Spread the word. But that's it, guys. That's all I got. Thank you all for being here. Love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody, and sweet dreams.